This is going to sound so hokey, but I really believe that background screening, I felt a purpose that I never felt before. I hate to say it, like a calling, but we really in this industry are protecting our communities. We're doing a service that keeps people safe and treats people fairly. And I think that that's what got me so interested in this industry, and that continues to keep me here. I just believe it's a valuable public service.
Welcome to Behind the Screens, conversations with background screening pros. I'm Les Rosen, your host, and I'm excited to have you here. On this podcast, we chat with the people who know the background screening world inside and out. Executives, industry experts, legal pros, and more. We dive into their personal stories and insights to give you a real look at what's happening behind the scenes. Whether you work in the screening industry or are just curious, Behind the Screens bring you the real, unfiltered conversations from the people who make it all happen. Stick around for stories you won't hear anywhere else. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting, action-packed podcast, Behind the Screens. And today, one of my favorite people is on the show. This is a gentleman who you have heard talk about the industry. But as you know, on this podcast, we don't really talk about substantive things. We talk about the people. And so you're going to find out about him. He's a person who has been voted by our colleagues as being one of the 10 most influential people in the screening industry. I don't remember not knowing him since I've been in the screening industry. So, of course, I am talking about my good friend and our special guest, Nick Fishman. Nick, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, and I just want to thank my mom also for stuffing the ballot box on that 10 most influential thing. I would have given it otherwise.
Well, I think it was an accurate vote. So let's start off with our icebreaker. Where are you talking to us from today? Where are you located?
You are getting me live from my home office in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So you're no longer a Clevelandite then?
No, I haven't been in Cleveland for years now. I've been living in Chicago since 1995.
Oh, that's right, Chicago, not Cleveland, right?
Yeah. And I now split time. We have a policy in my household, my wife and I. It's a no winter policy. So as soon as it starts to get cold in Chicago, we come to Arizona. As soon as it gets warm enough in Chicago to go back, we go back.
I don't know why. I mean, obviously Cleveland is part of your history, and we'll go through some of that. But obviously Chicago, yeah, I remember searching parking lots with you after a White Sox game, trying to locate your
my
car.
daughter still remembers that, but no way, and I'll never forget it.
All right, somewhere your car was there, but we finally found it. All right, so let's start where we always start. Nick, what's your in case the audience doesn't know, I'm sure most of them do, but what's your current role? What are you currently doing? What do you like about it? What's Nick Fishman doing these days?
Yeah, so I'm in, like, depending upon how you look at it, like act 3 or 4 of my career at this point. I'm really focusing on 2 things right now. First is I've been investing in some companies in this space, primarily on the wholesale side, the supply chain side, and that's been really fun for me and rewarding. And then the other thing that I do is I'm one of the managing members at iCubed Advisors, which you might know is a boutique advisory firm, specific only to background screening companies and CRAs. And so I've been having a lot of fun with that as well.
Yeah. You guys put on, I think we all know a lot of really interesting webinars and groups and whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've had a lot of members. We had Jason on, Bianca, Andy, and one of these days, if I can nail Kevin down, we'll stick him in your seat as well.
Absolutely. Those are my partners in crime. We've had a lot of fun doing this. And as you know, it's a great industry to work in. We've got a lot of old friends in this industry, and we're certainly meeting new ones as well.
And you guys put on that, you host a happy hour at the PVSA conference. We'll get to PVSA in a while, right?
Yeah, we've been doing that for, 4 or 5 years now, and it's worked out really well. People, they appreciate just kind of that relaxed atmosphere before they get into like high sales mode when they enter in the exhibit hall. So it works out well.
And you don't mind that I encourage people to go there and order a full meal and 2 or 3 drinks and just say, charge it to the Nick. Okay, no. All right.
The only problem is I don't know what your hotel room number is anymore, so I can't give them that when I sign the check.
Darn, I hate when it works out that way.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're on Act 3 or Act 4 or however you're acting out these days. So what's been your career path? How did you get from where you were to where you are now? And what happened in between?
Yeah, well, some quick highlights. I really started in the sports marketing business, believe it or not. And I had been doing that in the early part of my career when I met Jason Morris. And at the time, Jason had heard that I was, in addition to the sports marketing work I was doing, I was really helping people write business plans, get businesses launched. And so he came to me with this idea of getting into the background screening business. And I looked at it and it just seemed interesting to me at the time. He wanted to do like a fingerprint business going to different college campuses. And I dissuaded him of that notion, immediately. But we formed a small investment group to start what would become Employee Street IQ. And it was really supposed to be a side investment for me. And this was in 1999. By 2001, and, unfortunately, 9/11 would have happened regardless of whether our industry was in or not. But we all know that everybody got very security conscious at that point. And so I ended up selling the sports marketing business I had and got fully involved in Employee Street IQ at that time. And honestly, I never really looked back. It is just, I like to call it dumb luck. It's something that I fell into that I had a deep passion for. And so we grew that business until 2015 when we exited to, selling into Sterling, into the Goldman Sachs folks. Loved it there, spent about 3 years there, learned quite a bit. And by the time, 3 years had rolled around, I think I kind of said, you know what, I'm working harder for Sterling than I ever worked for myself. And so I needed a little bit of a break. And I went into a little bit of consulting and did some work with a couple different companies. And lo and behold, it turned out into a full-time role at SJV, which then became Informed Data, where I stayed for quite some time until about a year ago. So that's the history of kind of the evolution of my career in the industry.
And those are just the highlights. I mean, in between, there's a lot of details we're not trying to go into.
Right. I've only told you about the positive experiences I've had throughout my career.
I mean, at one point, I remember you, Jason, and I got together and had dinner with your dad. And we actually were thinking early on of sticking our toes in the social media waters.
Yeah, it's so funny. And I don't know about you, but I certainly spouted off about how I thought that it was a horrible idea to get involved in social media screening. And, lo and behold, a few years later, we were talking about doing it ourselves. And I eventually ended up investing in one of the companies that does it. And I'm a big advocate now.
That's really interesting because I remember the three of us, we met with developers and looked at it. Let's stick to what we know for sure.
Right, exactly. We would have been way before our time had we done it at that time. I think that was maybe it was 2007, 2008, something like that.
Yeah. It would have been premature. Yeah. Right. Yeah, timing's everything. So, as you've gone through these various acts, obviously you know so many people in the industry, but who have been some of your mentors or some of your influencers in your career?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think to start out with, at least as it relates to the background screening industry, I would say first and foremost is my father. My dad taught me everything I needed to know, or at least enough that I needed to know about how to start a business, how to operate it responsibly, how not to be stupid and bankrupt it. And really, I think my dad was the driving force behind helping us develop what we considered to be a real business, how to have integrity with your customers, how to make sure that they were taken care of before anybody else, and also your employees. And so I give my dad a lot of credit for that. Jason and I, left to our own devices, would have created a natural disaster. So I would say that my dad is probably the most influential, certainly early on. Then as we got into the business, I would say, Jason obviously taught me everything I needed to know about background screening, kind of really got me excited about it. And then, of course, I ran into the guy that's sitting across from me right now, you, who, all kidding aside, I still don't understand why you did it, but always taking phone calls, always helping out wherever you could. And that's rare, that's unique, and I really appreciate that. So I would say that is probably where at least the beginning part of my career was. Kind of as we grew up in the business, I would say as we exited to Sterling, The most influential person to me and one of my mentors was a woman named Julia Mayer, who you might or might not know, but Julia was the chief marketing officer at Sterling at the time that they acquired us. And of course, they buy us. And of course, I, at that point, in addition to a lot of my other responsibilities, was that I too was a chief marketing officer. Left to my own devices, I probably, if somebody else was coming into that position, would have locked them in the broom closet and told them to go away. And she was fantastic to me. She was never threatened, and maybe that's because I wasn't as good as she was, and I fully admit that. But she found a way to plug me in and get me exposed to things that I had never been in my career. And so she was a real mentor to me. And then, finally, the last person that I'll point to, and hopefully I haven't gone too long-winded here.
No, go ahead. It's like the Academy Awards, if you, and there's, and also you're always fearful, God, who did I leave out? But,
Right. So
but
if you start playing music and give me the hook, I'll stop. But again, very serious note. I think that do you know Kim Kerr? Do you remember Kim?
Oh, yeah.
Kim is somebody that I've known in the industry for a very long time. And as I got more involved in SJV and into informed data, Kim has been an incredible mentor to me, both, I would say, about the business, about the experiences he's had, about different ways of going at things. But as much as he's taught me about the business, he's also taught me about how to become a great person and how to be accountable. And I treasure the relationship I have with him. He's an incredible guy. And I would say that he's very influential in my career development now.
Well, you've been very fortunate. I mean, obviously your dad, Les Fishman, was a great guy, a CPA, hardcore business guy, but a really nice guy as well. I remember you, me, and Jason talking to him, and he really had the pointed questions. And I was sort of thinking, God, we really should have thought this through a whole lot more.
Right. I won't tell him that you're saying nice things about him. He might take it as an insult.
All right. I don't want to go there. So during all these adventures that you've had, what would be an early lesson that you'd want to share that you found out early in your career or mid-career that, and we all learn lots of lessons, but what's a lesson or two that just immediately bubbles to the surface that you'd like to share with the...
Okay, so this is your way of telling me don't go 12 minutes on this one?
No, you can go 11 minutes and 30. It's okay.
Okay. Well, okay, so, big ones, and these are really... not necessarily background scraping lessons, but first thing is treat everybody the way that you would want to be treated. And I don't care who it is, whether it's somebody that is a subordinate to you, somebody that needs something from you or you need something from. There is never enough kind of goodwill that you can possibly get by treating people kindly, treating them fairly, and being open and honest with them. I think that's a huge lesson.
Just interrupt there and unpack that a bit because sometimes firms don't realize that you really got to be nice to your vendors. I mean, your vendors are supplying you, but they're partners, and you get so much advantage out of that. And being nice to consumers. I mean, I share the same passion.
Yeah.
Those are the two groups that immediately come to mind. That if you're a CRA, you really need to develop a relationship. But I interrupt. Please proceed.
No, that's okay. Yeah. Life's too short to have enemies. It doesn't matter, what you do. So, you might as well create kind of a support system of people that want to see you do well, that are invested in you. And the best way to do that is to treat them the way that you would want to be treated. My dad taught me very early on, integrity is all that matters. The second you let that slip, that becomes your reputation. I think that's really important. One thing I think that this just came to the top of my head that I talk a lot about is in mentorship. It is okay to allow yourself to be used. It is okay to use other people. And I don't mean use other people for, to take advantage of them or to allow you to be taken advantage of. But like I pointed out, people like you and Kim Kerr and my father were only so happy to be able to mentor me and get absolutely nothing in return. And I have always seen that with people that I try to help out, is that I know that there are give and take relationships, and there are some where you just give more and some that you give less. Mm. So I think it's okay to use others and to be used in a very positive way.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So with the, particularly with the, the influences that you described and the early lessons, very interesting. And a lot of it applies, you applied it obviously to the background screening industry from your early days with placement iCubed. So what is it? And you alluded to it a little bit, but you work in the sports industry, you have the skills, you can go to any industry. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You have the skill set. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, but you've gravitated back to the background industry. Why is that? What is there about background screening or the background screening folks that have captured your attention?
Yeah, well, I guess with all due respect to my friends that are still in sports marketing, I never really found it to be rewarding where I felt like I was making any kind of a difference in the world. And this is going to sound so hokey, but I really believe that background screening, I felt a purpose that I never felt before. It was like, I hate to say it, like a calling. But we really in this industry are protecting our communities. We're doing a service that keeps people safe and treats people fairly. And I think that that's what got me so interested in this industry and that continues to keep me here. I just believe it's a valuable public service.
Yeah, for our employers, for our clients, for everybody. Yeah, I
And
want to
listen,
say,
and I think the other thing is too, is like, I think what I value about this industry, and you know this is a great opportunity to be able to educate people on something that they don't know about, but that's really important. I know you made that a hallmark of your career, and I certainly have made it of mine as well.
yeah, yeah. And it's interesting about the industry too. I've had guests on the show say, "Well, the industry has really matured. In the old days, we used fax machines." And I made the point, well, maybe 10 years from now, we'll look back at today, and what we're doing today will be the same as looking back as though we used fax machines and pagers. What's your thought? I mean, I think there's going to be leaps and bounds. I think the industry will be
Yeah,
something entirely different.
everything evolves. Like we would look at what we did 20 years ago or even 10 years ago and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe we used to do it that way." With the advent of, things like machine learning or artificial intelligence right now, it is pushing this industry leaps and bounds
Yeah.
and accelerating it in a path that I don't think we've ever seen. So, yeah, of course, I think it's going to evolve. Now, what exactly that looks like, I don't have my Nostradamus hat on at the moment, but I do think it will be meaningfully different.
Yeah, 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 and that's one of the interesting things. Now that I'm sort of an outsider, I can look at it and see how it's evolving and see all the interesting things people are doing. So with all the accomplishments you've had and the careers and the stages, what would you say stands out in your mind as a proud moment, something that brings a smile to your face? Is that, yeah, that was pretty cool. I did that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the biggest thing is starting a company at 26 or 27 years old with Jason and it actually turning into a business to the point that, we sold it to the largest provider in the background screening industry was really, really cool. It's still something I'm so proud of. And so I think that that was really big. Other things that I think we did kind of cool, like when we started Employee Screen University. And, for those that don't know, I probably ripped off an idea from 700 other industries. But bottom line is what we did is we created all these tools to start educating the marketplace about, whether it was how to comply with background screening laws and the latest trends and things like that. And it got incredible results. We were driving tons of leads just through that vehicle. And one of the best moments, and I'll break my hand patting myself on the back, is I don't remember what year it was, but way before we were ready to service a customer like this, we walked into somebody that I would probably say now is one of the 3 largest companies in the world. And we were talking to them about their background screening program, and they were interested in hearing what we had to say. And when I went to go introduce myself during the meeting, the woman across the table looks at me and she goes, "Oh, we know exactly who you are. You're the Employee Screen IQ University guy. Why do you think you're here?" And, Jason certainly thought it was funny, but was like, "Well, how come they didn't recognize me?" But it really was like a moment to me of like, "Oh my
Right.
God, somebody's paying attention to this." So those were kind of the cool things. The other really cool thing that I love, Les, and again, I know I'm sounding hokey, but at this point I'm an old man and this is the kind of thing that, gets it there. But seeing the other people that worked at Employee Screen IQ continue to excel in this industry is so gratifying to me, and I'm so proud of it. Angela Preston and Joe Berlin and John Sperry and Zach Martin, Andrew Cashman, guys like that. Kevin Bachman has done incredibly well. And it's so nice to see them go on to other places and be successful. So those things for me that I love.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I'm sure I left others out. I didn't do it on purpose. Reach out to me if I left you anything.
Well, I mean, you can't name 30 or 40 people, but, there's only so much time. So, one of the hallmarks, I think, of your career has been your role in participating in PBSA. Starting off at PBS, now PBSA. What's been the influence of PBSA in your career? How's that impacted you, and what's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the biggest thing with PBSA that I've taken out of it are the relationships. There are not many industries where you can meet with your competitors who you compete intensely with and then go to a conference and they're all your best friends. And I think that's been the most gratifying thing. I think PBSA for me personally also was great in my career because it gave me an opportunity to get involved in advocacy, both at the state and the federal level. And I definitely treasure those experiences as well. And so I think that's been great. Right? PBSA set the standard for a very long time about how this industry should operate, and they should be given credit for that.
So on Advocacy Day, so you've been a participant, obviously, at the DC fly-ins. That's fun, isn't it?
I loved it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they still do it, and I certainly know it evolved differently. When we all originally got involved in it, there were only a handful of us that went to it, and we were sitting down and we were meeting with the commissioners of the FTC, or, we met with senators or their aides or representatives. I don't know if they get that exposure anymore, but I can tell you that it was certainly one of the highlights of my career.
Yeah, and they do. I went to it a couple of years ago. I mean, I was at the very first one where there's only just a handful of us, and we actually got into some pretty important meetings with the FTC and various folks. But yeah, no, it's still going strong, and you get to go up to Capitol Hill and go into various senators and congressmen's office and federal agencies. So, yeah. So I take it you would recommend that to people to do.
Highly. It's an experience of a lifetime. It's gratifying. It can be, I think now probably a little more frustrating than it used to be. No matter who you met with, before 10 years ago when we used to do this, there was a lot of respect in the room. Like you could hear people's sides and understand it. And I might be wrong about this, but I just think we live in a very politically charged atmosphere right now. And I don't know if you go into a senator's or a representative's office that is adamantly opposed to your point of view, and there's still that same level of openness and transparency.
Yeah, no, people are still receptive because the things we do, safety and basically the rights, second chance and so forth, pretty well accepted. I can't go anymore because I don't own a suit. So, yeah. So sorry, I can't do that. So let's get beyond the background screening. Let's talk about life beyond background screening. Apart from all the things that you do in your professional career, what do you do when you're not background screening? What your hobbies or interests or whatever?
Right. Well, I'll get in trouble if I don't mention this first, but of course my family is, my number one favorite pastime. I've been married now for 28 years, coming up on 29 years. I've got two daughters. One is 23 years old, and she just finished her master's degree and just took her first job in HR. So very excited for her. And then my other daughter is a junior at the University of Arizona, and she is focusing on real estate. And so we're really excited to see what that has in store for her. So, first and foremost, especially this time that I've taken off since Informed Data, it's been unbelievable to not get on a plane every week and leave there. Of course, they've left me. They're not in the same place as me anymore, but I really enjoy spending time with them. The other thing is, you all know this, I am an unapologetic Ohio State Buckeyes football fan. I follow them maniacally. Yes, I'm going to cut you off, Les. They lost to Indiana this week. They beat us. It's okay. I still think we have a national championship in us. and we still beat Michigan this year. So need I say more? So I really do love college football. And then activities, I am, now that we're out in Arizona, I'm a big hiker. I do a lot of biking, a lot of exercise in general. We love to travel. We've been traveling all over the world for the last several years, very much like yourself. And I've taken up golf, albeit not very good at it, but I still enjoy it.
I mean golf where you have dragons and waterfalls,
Yeah,
or,
like
or real
miniature golf?
Yeah, miniature
Yeah, I'm
golf.
not even good at that. But no, I mean the real deal.
So your daughter's at UA down in Tucson. So you're
Correct,
not that
yeah.
far away.
Yeah, 2 hours.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Not at all.
And the old
We'll have to
Western
ask
town.
her how bad it is, though. I mean, someone wants to live in it, not me.
Well, that's an ideal distance. It's far enough where the parental units don't show up too much unannounced, but she's, close enough to home to do the laundry. So it all
Yeah,
works
it's
out.
the best. We love it, and she makes good use of it, and it comes in spurts sometimes, and then we don't see her for months at a time.
Do you go on the road and go to Ohio State games, or
When I'm back in Chicago, it's actually fairly easy to get to games because, I went down to Champaign in Illinois to go see them. I went up to Madison this year in Wisconsin to go see them. Once I get out here, it becomes a little bit more challenging, but they likely, I don't want to jinx it, but if they win the first round of the playoffs this year, they'll be in the Fiesta Bowl here. So I hope to go to that game as well.
you better get tickets right away?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That can get expensive. So Nick, with all that, tell us if you don't mind, a fun fact that people may not know about you. That, of course, once you let it out publicly, people will not hesitate to rib you about it at PBSA meetings. What do you do in your
Can
secret
I say
life?
something like I chose to be bold? Okay, that's not it. Let's see. I just looked at this the other day. I have been to every state in this country with the exception of North Dakota. And I think there's one more that I'm just not thinking of right now. Actually, that might be it. It might just be North Dakota.
Because you're not allowed. They won't allow you in, or you just didn't get there.
They won't allow me into North Dakota? No, probably not. Yes. No business need to be there. But if somebody can come up with a good reason for me to be in North Dakota, I'm there because I got to close it off the list.
Just because it's north of South Dakota. I mean, that's good enough.
I've been to South. South's great. I saw Mount Rushmore. Have you been to North Dakota?
I will confess, no, I have not.
All right. Well, then maybe you and I have to do this together.
All right, we'll take
Just
a road
during the
trip.
summer.
So you're out there for spring training, right? I'll be out. I'll give you a call. I'll be out for spring training as well.
Yeah, we go to. I'm not a huge Cubs fan, but I like the Cubs. We go to their spring training games all the time. It's a fun experience.
That's great. Yeah, no, you're right there. Although the spring training tickets used to be $10, $15.
It's not necessarily that anymore, but
Yeah, I know, and half the stadium is empty, and now it's $200 or $300, and it's packed.
yeah, exactly.
So the world has really changed. So as we come to the end of our time together, is there anything we left out that you want to talk about that we didn't have a chance to talk about?
Oh, what are you doing to stay busy these days, Les? I'm interested in hearing about you.
No. I'm just boring. I do these podcasts, and I do what you do. I invest. I keep busy. I travel.
I know you're a big Dodgers fan. Congratulations on the World Series. We're all very proud of you for that. That was one of the best World Series I've ever seen in my life, by the way. If not,
No, that's right. At PBSA, you and I were leaving right at the same time. We shared an Uber. I was on my way to pick up my car to go to Dodger Stadium, and Dodgers lost that one. But
they lost that one, but they ended up winning. It worked well.
that's all that counts in the end.
Yeah.
So, Nick, what is your advice for, since you've been in the industry and had all the experiences, for a person that is, either just starting out, they might be a verifier or a records clerk, they might be a little higher up, they may not be in management, they may not make decisions, may not have the ability to, get sent to PBSA. But what can they do in their career if they want to make the background screening to choose that as their career? What's your advice?
Yeah, I think that committing to this industry means committing to a lifetime of learning. This industry has evolved and it will continue to evolve. We talked about it. You learn new things every single day, whether it's new laws, new ways of complying with things, new ways of selling the product, new ways of creating products and packaging products, new ways of selling products. And so I think it really takes a commitment to understanding that what you learn today will not be the case and will not be the way you do things tomorrow. That's the biggest lesson I think, somebody could take. The other thing is, and I think that this is really important in an industry where we hear the same things from people. We have better turnaround time. We're more compliant than anybody. All of these, these claims. But I think both individually and as a company, I would encourage people to be different, be bold, be unique. I think it's a great way to stand out in the industry. Don't be afraid to be yourself. And that goes for any industry, but particularly for this one, I think there's enough people doing the same thing, the same ways they've always done it. Don't be afraid to make some changes.
What's interesting about that, what struck me is that that's not only advice for people that are in the management team or the upper echelon, but it's also great advice for just a person who might just be, like I said, a researcher or a verifier, or do something different than everyone else.
Yeah.
Go to the PBSA site and get a certification. One of the personal certifications they offer. Call up, join a committee. And you can just rise up by your own bootstraps and just choose to be different just by being involved, right?
I agree that. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to ask somebody for help. Most people are approachable. Most people want to help you if they're asked to be able to help you. They don't always go and volunteer it, but if you show interest and you want to climb the ladder, I have never seen evidence of somebody not being helpful in that regard. And so I just think that this is a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You and I have both been in management or ownership of a company, and it's so amazing that to get the attention of management just by expressing the desire to advance and making yourself valuable by learning more, getting in earlier, asking questions. And so when they need that next supervisor, you might be it. Or
Exactly.
And that's how people move up into the management team.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the work has to be there, but beyond the work, it's really that curiosity that can get you to the next level.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
it's
enthusiasm,
not,
right?
people can, I think are surprised to learn that even though you think you're just a cog in a large organization, you can stand out just by showing curiosity, by doing something exceptional.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're on a PPSA committee. And how did you do that? Well, I rose my hand. I volunteered.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and
You and I, like our entire careers, who did we want to see elevated in our careers? It was their careers, people that we trusted, people that looked enthusiastic about what they did, that demonstrated passion, that were reliable. And that you get that by standing out and by raising your hand.
Yeah. So that's really the walkaway point. Raise your hand, stand out. Either if you're, regardless whether you're a company or an individual, no matter where you are, just raise your hand and stand out.
Yep.
And don't wait for someone just to elevate you. Elevate yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. Great advice. Well, I think we've covered everything. Let me just finish with giving you the last word. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Any closing remarks or comments? Nick Fishman, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you for including me. I'm really honored to be included. I think you've done such a tremendous job with these podcasts, and it's really a service to the industry. I applaud you for it. Frankly, I'm sorry I didn't come up with it on my own, but that's a whole other story. But thank you for having me. The only thing I want to say is, now having been in this industry for an awful long time, it's been, nearly 26 years, I believe. I am so fortunate to have been in this industry, to continue to be in it, and to be a big advocate for it. What we do is important. Everybody that's listening to this, you're probably in the industry, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to it, but just realize what you're doing plays such an important role in the lives of so many people, and it's great to be passionate about this. You can rely on the fact that this is an honorable career and an honorable industry, and there are people out there, whether, like you were talking about, if you're starting at the bottom right now, please reach out. Anybody can reach out to me. They can email me. They can call me. I'm always happy to help people advance in their careers. So I think that's all I have to say.
Well, I somehow doubt that's all you have to say. That's all we have time for.
Sure. Clearly, you know me well, Les.
All right. All right. Well, Nick, this has been great. I really appreciate you coming on. And, well, let me thank you. We have our podcast, also on behalf of our sponsor, our chief platinum sponsor, Barry Nixon, the pre-employment directory, who is kind enough to sponsor our efforts here, and looking forward to more podcasts in the future. And Nick, boy, great to see you again. And I may take you up on catching a Cubs game at spring training and probably in February or March.
Yeah, February or March spring training, and then June in North Dakota. You and I, we're doing it.
We're doing it. All right, you heard it here, folks. Next podcast is from North Dakota. Signing off from behind the screens, our special guest, Nick Fishman. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Les. Have a good day.
All right, that was yet another wonderful conversation with a background screening pro. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an update. And hey, if you got a moment, we'd love for you to leave us a review. It really helps get the word out. For more info or to catch up on past episodes, or to make suggestions or to suggest possible future guests, head over to our website. Once again, this is your host, Les Rosen, and it's been a pleasure to bring you another episode. See you on the next episode. Thanks.